What's going on, everybody? This is Leo. I'm here with Paul, Mr. Big Love Citrine.
Big Love. I like that.
You like that? and you're watching the Fight Game podcast. Hopefully you're watching this via www.patreon. That's patreon.com/Fight Game Podcast. That's really the only place that you guys are going to be able to see everything that we have to offer. Please go there and consider being part of the show, being a member. There's a lot of cool things that you guys will be getting as a member of the show. So again, for about $2 a month, you guys get everything that we post. You're going to get specials. You're going to get actually John Hughes, our guest for today. And if you guys ever watched the Righteous Anger podcast, he was actually a co-host of that for a while there, right? At least one episode, right? You were co-hosting?
Like two. I know I was on 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, and let me tell you, John has got to be one of my favorite people to have on a show. This guy is never, ever, ever boring. Which I don't know. I don't know if that was super gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that, John. But you know,
I'm there on Thursdays, so.
What?
Yeah, you heard me.
Okay, all right. And so we got John on today. Go again. This is a thing you want to support the show. Go on fightgamepodcast.com. You can check out the links there to Patreon, become a member, and help support the show. We've got a lot of things that we want to do, guys. Not just this podcast, but other things as well, where we actually go and we actually do a lot of things like you saw UFC do for a while, like All Access. You see the History Channel do, but specifically on the Fight Game. Warriors from all over the world, all over time, different eras. Little what do they call those things? Exposés on different gyms, exposés on fighters from the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area, all over the East Coast. These are things that we want to do. We can't do without you guys being members. So go to, again, www.patreon.com/Fight Game Podcast. Become a member. Other ways that you can support, of course, is you can go to Epilogue Shirts. That's EPILOGUE shirts.com. And there you can buy a shirt like what I'm wearing right now, Mother Loving My Ninja. You can get a lot of cool swag there. And, of course, that helps the show as well. Anything else I'm missing, Mr. Paul?
No, sir.
Oh, one thing. Paul's very good at this one. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share the stuff that we put out so that more people can be exposed to the sickness that we call the Fight Game. All right. Without a further ado, I'd like to welcome a man who told me that he was retired.
Never.
He said he was a retired MMA fighter. And I said, word? You're only like 12, 15 years old. How are you retiring? You haven't even hit your man strength yet. What are you doing? And he said he was retired. This was like a year ago. And now he's crushing people so bad that they got to lie on him. They got to lie on him so that he has to crush people again.
Shots fired.
In rematches. So my man is probably one of the biggest personalities you're going to find here in the DC metro area, but he's moving. He's moving down to Raleigh, North Carolina, but he will be up here to train, to help others train, and of course to continue beating up on people, that aren't as good as him. So, without a further ado, again, my man, John the Scarecrow Hughes.
What it is. How y'all doing?
Good.
Thanks.
Thank y'all for having me.
Thanks for coming on the show, John.
Of course.
So there's a couple things I want to talk to you about. The first and foremost, is this fight that you just had. Okay, tell me about the venue. Tell me about who you fought, and tell me about the salaciousness of what ended up happening. Okay, so go.
So it was at Shogun Fights. I forget which number it was. I think it was like 8, 7, 17. I forget. I don't know. But Shogun Fights in Baltimore at Royal Farms Arena, and set up to fight Maik Ferrante. good guy out of Maryland somewhere. I'm not really sure where he's fighting out of, but he's fighting out of Maryland. And strong guy. Definitely likes to grind and win his fights and just grind it out. It's gonna wear you down. But we didn't get to really fight at all. I landed a jab and maybe a couple punches in the clinch on the cage. I don't think he landed a punch in the video. He maybe hit my shoulder and side of my head, kind of. But I was rolling with the punches, so none of them really landed if they did. And then we got to the cage, and this guy started bleeding. I was thinking either A, he's cut, which I didn't know from what, but my elbow was my whole hand. You know when you get that funny bone feeling?
Yes.
When you get hit in the elbow and you're like, oh, that's not funny at all. Like, oh. I had, like, if you watch the tape when they put it on TV, whenever they do, you'll see me, like, elbow against his head trying to push off of him, and me just like, what? What's going on with this? What happened? So then I couldn't push him down, so I tried to get him up, and as I tried to get him up, I saw blood on his face, or blood dripping, and I was thinking, okay, either that jab was way stronger than I thought it was, and I broke his nose, or this guy's cut somehow. So I just started wailing and hitting and hitting and hitting and however I could. I think he ended up taking me down once, and I sprung right back up. And like at one point, I was looking, I'm like, cool, the blood's like he's starting to leak. This is awesome. I'm winning. And then not long after that, I was looking, and I'm like, wow, that's a lot of blood. Like, we should probably have the refs step in or something, because even I'm starting to get a little queasy. Like, woo. And
this guy was bleeding out of his cranium, and it was gushing out,
like leaking like a faucet. But
oh, jeez.
we ended up in a scramble, and in the scramble, I was going up for to just wail off on him, and the ref stepped in and was like, "Hey, we're gonna check this out." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, he's leaking pretty bad." Like even after they pull us apart, I'm like looking at his face, like, "Man, are you okay? Is your nose or?" And it was a cut, and the doc said, "No go." Went and checked the cut out, and the ref was like, "Hey, it was a headbutt when he came in." And at the time, I was like, a headbutt when he came in? A headbutt? What do you mean? It was like, well, he got a cut, and it was from an accidental headbutt, so it's a no contest. And I'm like, what? Like, I was blown.
How did and if you guys want to see, John, I know John, you posted, other people have posted the actual photo of you talking to the ref at that moment.
Oh yeah.
And of course there's funny like memes and things about what is John's got the most serious look on his face I ever seen him have.
Yeah.
Like serious and shocked all at the same time.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And of course, the question was, okay, what is John saying in this? And people had their funny things, but what you were actually thinking was, what the hell? What's going on? Like what?
Yeah.
What do you mean headbutt from where? Where did you even see
Like
a headbutt?
I wasn't even thinking that at the time. I was thinking, what do you mean? Like, we're not fighting? This is it? Like, in my head, instantly, I'm like, wow, that was 10 weeks of training camp for just no contest. Not a loss, not a win, just no contest. So I was blown. There's one of the videos you can hear in the crowd. It looks like I'm about to start throwing a fit in the ring, and you can hear my baby sister screaming out, like, what is he doing? He's acting like a baby. Because I was literally about to just, like, throw in a fit. Like,
Lay down on the ground, start wailing on.
Like, look, we're fighting somebody. I didn't do all this for nothing. Somebody get in here. Let's go.
God, what would have happened if you started fighting the ref just then?
I was so blown. I was like, I couldn't comprehend what was happening. And then later on, we were like, hey, if it was a headbutt, I forget who said it. It was like, if it was a headbutt, where's the mark on your head? And I'm like, yeah, I think it was my aunt or my dad. And they were like, where's mark on your head? And I'm like, yeah, exactly. So I started taking pictures and videos.
Right.
Like, I was looking at myself, and had people looking at me, and even Scott came by, took pictures, and we took it to the commission. And it was like, if it was a headbutt, where's his hit? Like, where did he get hit from?
Paul, let me ask you, okay, being the veteran that you are, helping guys inside the cage, is it possible to headbutt somebody and you not have a mark on your head as well? Is that possible?
I mean, it's going to be rare. It's going to be. I can't say it's impossible. It is possible because a lot of times what people have to remember is that when you cut the skin, it's not because of the impact. It's actually the friction of the skin being pulled apart so quickly. So, that's what rips the skin apart. So when you see people with when they throw elbows, especially elbows, the elbows, because they're so sharp, it catches a little bit of the skin and just rips it, and it's just pulling it off to the side and just ripping it open, like you would if you took like a piece of paper and just grabbed it on two ends and pulled, you'd see the tear there. That's what's happening when you get cut.
Okay.
More often than not.
Okay.
But with the headbutt, the part that I had a problem with the headbutt was that I honestly cannot remember a time when you guys actually collided heads.
Yeah.
That's where my problem is, and that's just me not remembering.
So
right?
one of the things that, like, say for instance Joe Rogan, right, on his show, he obviously talks to a lot of fighters, and
Sure.
he will go back and watch. He says he actually he'd rather watch a fight to see everything from home because all the different camera angles, you can see it better.
Exactly.
Better than even the people that are on the side of the cage.
Absolutely.
And even better than the ref, because sometimes the ref is being blocked, right?
Yep, absolutely.
So why? Okay, so this is an easy one. Just get the videos. Get the videos from the promotion.
Sure.
And then maybe you can figure out what actually happened.
Yeah. And I don't know what happened behind the scenes with the commission, with how they went about doing their investigation for, to figure out whether the cut was a legitimate headbutt, accidental cut that'll result in a no contest. I don't know what the process is behind that. I'd love to know what went on.
You and me both.
Yeah, but
you and me both.
At the end of the day, the commission will make its ruling, and we have to kind of abide by that. We're only going to be able to play the cards that we're dealt. So whatever cards they deal us, we got to play.
Right.
Yeah.
Being in the corner for Jonathan's fight for that one, they were literally maybe about 9-10 feet away from us, but it was off to an angle, and we were looking through the cage, through the the whatchamacallit, through the cage,
chain link fence.
The chain link fence.
Right.
So for us, I thought I had a pretty good vantage point. I saw John. What happened was when his opponent pressed him up against the cage, we started screaming for elbows because the guy's head was basically in the right place for it. He wasn't going to hit the back of the head, et cetera, et cetera. So Jonathan just goes to work, starts going. And then all of a sudden, we see all this blood from somewhere, and I was like, is that... I looked at John, and I was like, is that Jonathan, or is that the other guy? And John was like, that's the other guy. And then when they came up and kind of separated for a second...
I'm sure Scott was smiling when he said that, too.
Well, when they separated, and the referee said, the referee was like, okay, let's have the doctor take a look at this. In my mind, I was like, we have a target. we can end this quickly, and
So you guys are looking at that going, oh, this is going to be an early win.
Yeah.
Obviously, because
I hear them yelling in the corner, we have a target. We have a target. And I'm looking at the docs, and the docs are all shaking their head like, yeah. And like the docs agree, we have a target. And as they're looking at the guy, and they're looking at the ref, and everybody's shaking their head yes. And I'm like, cool, we about to get this on.
Yeah.
As soon as the docs leave, ref's hands go up, and they're like, nope. And I'm like, what? What you mean?
So when you have conflict like that in what people see versus what happened in the fight, and other people are reviewing, it would be nice if there was oversight where you can see what the process was. And maybe it's because I'm not close enough to it the way that John and Sucker Punch, the management company, was actually looking for that kind of investigation. So I honestly don't know what went down as far as how far into it they went. Did they talk to the promoters and say, can we have the videos that you have of the fight that present us the best angles? Because Shogun is a great promotion, and we've been in the back enough to be able to see how many angles they can see into the ring. And it is a good. They do have great angles that they can see all the action from.
How many cameras do they usually run?
6 around the cage. They have one almost at every single corner. I'm sorry, every other corner. So they have at least 3. And then they have
that is plenty of angles to figure this one out.
They have 3 or 4. They have 3 or 4 cage side that are looking into the cage, and then you have the one that's on the crane that goes above and around, that hovers over the cage to give you the aerial view, the bird's eye view, and they have random people with walking around the the cage
with handhelds.
with handhelds.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, they're pretty well stocked with visuals, so they definitely keep it. They definitely somebody caught the right angle at one point.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty certain. So
And if they don't if the video, however the video was seen or not seen or didn't come out or whatever, when it hits TV, if it goes on TV, we'll see the angles.
Yeah,
we'll see what happened.
we'll definitely be
Now,
rewinding and slow moing that
Right?
one.
now,
Somebody going DVR.
so now, thanks to that no contest,
Yeah.
immediately your camp was shouting for a rematch.
Oh, yeah. We were in the back doctor's office before we even got to the exited the cage. I said, "Hey, this is no contest. I want a rematch." And I looked at him, and he just kind of looked didn't look all gung ho for it. But I was like, "Yeah,
Ferrante.
okay, yeah, Ferrante."
Okay.
And then we go back to the doctor's office. I'm like, "Hey, man, headbutt or no headbutt, no contest or loss or whatever. Let's get this rematch happening, no matter what." And I don't remember a solid yes until not that night, but
Well, he was dealing with a concussion. Of course, he's not
well,
going to get a.
whatever. Your words, not mine.
So
And then I went to Rollo and Hamper, the promoters, and was like, "Hey," like I said, told him in the doctor's office, rematch, whether it's no contest or we get this overturned or whatever. They were like, "Yeah, we'll put a rematch on." I was like, "All right, let me know when." And he said, "MGM is the next one in June."
nice.
And I said, "Bet, that's my backyard."
Which is going to be
I'll welcome you guys.
that's going to be a huge promotion, man.
Oh, yeah.
MGM is no joke. There's a lot of amazing fighters for the upcoming MGM Shogun fight.
Yep.
It's the first one at the MGM, first MMA show at the MGM.
Is it? Yeah. Oh, yeah. It is. It is. It is going to be the first
MMA show at the MGM, first Shogun show. UFC hasn't even been there yet.
You heard it here first on the Fight Game podcast. Okay, so definitely that's going to be a groundbreaking kind of historical event for mixed martial arts.
Absolutely.
And having it there, it's great for John Rollo and what's his name?
Brian Hamper.
Brian Hamper. Congratulations, you guys, for having that be the first there. Your event there, so that's fantastic. Now you're going to be fighting, rematching with Ferrante.
Yes.
Are you going to change your game plan at all? Are you going to go into it pretty much with the same training and fervor?
Slightly different training because I'm traveling now, so I'm getting a lot of different looks. As far as groundwork and stand up, even just this past weekend, doing some groundwork was pretty awesome and eye opening. Being in a different area, completely different area, working with different people, which was awesome. Really, really awesome. And then, which shout out to Elevate MMA Academy in Durham, North Carolina. But I am going in with a slightly different game plan. It's the Ricky Bobby style. If you're not first, you're last. So I'm going in, be first. Last time I was first.
Please no shake and bake. Please no shake and bake.
I mean, if it calls for it, Roy Jones might come out. That's sorry to John Howard in advance. But I'm going in straightforward, and I was first last time. I landed the first hit last time, but then I kind of took too long to assess my game, which was my game plan going in. This time, there's no time to assess. So I'm just going to go in, and do what I do best.
And that doesn't really betray your strategy at all. Just saying that you're gonna take it to them, because that's should be everybody's game plan, is to go in and assert your dominance on that person.
Absolutely.
Now, one thing, talking about the psychological side of it, you're coming out of this. Really, I mean, I wouldn't say you're the winner. Obviously, officially, you're not the winner, but I think psychologically you're coming out as the winner, because you made this guy rain blood all over the place. Do you feel like Ferrante might be at a psychological disadvantage for your next bout? Is he thinking about the fact that you were able to cut him with whatever, your head or your elbow or whatever it was, and you were able to dominate?
No, I don't think so, because we didn't have time. There's maybe a minute and 15 seconds of technical fight time, but maybe only 30 seconds of actual fight time. which, like I said, I can almost account for every punch that was thrown in that 30 seconds. My jab, his 1-2-3-4 combo, 1-2-3-4 combo against the cage, and then a fast flurry for me, a takedown, separation, fight's over.
Do you think that that flurry? Do you think that flurry is it now? Is that flurry where you think the elbow might have hit him?
No, I think he caught the elbow coming in because from the video I had of somebody filming from outside of the ring and like kind of high up but zoomed in, it's blurry, but you can see that when he comes in, if it's a headbutt, there's one spot where he kind of hits my chin. Now, my beard game is not that strong.
Not like Chuck Norris.
No, yeah, I do not have a Chuck Norris beard game. Like, it's patchy. Like, at some spots it grows dark, and other spots it doesn't grow. So I know my beard didn't cut him. But then there's another spot right when we hit the cage, my hand is on the back of his head. Either he came into my elbow there, or went into the cage there. Either way.
Do you think he was stunned at that point?
No.
So he was all.
I didn't throw a single punch at that point. Like, he came in and I framed and based, and then I looked and he was leaking.
Okay, and obviously, Crew Paul,
Yes.
with when you cut somebody's head open, that doesn't necessarily mean that there was shock,
Correct.
right? Okay,
Correct.
Okay,
It won't be like concussive shock that cut when you get cut. It's always going to be one of those. It's almost like a nudge. That's why you see like when like especially in MMA or in Muay Thai, when you see guys get cut and they almost look like they didn't realize it, and you see them like touch it, and all of a sudden they're like, oh crap, I'm cut. It's because it's not a traumatic blow, but you all of a sudden feel heat and you feel moisture coming out of your head in a very abnormal way. So you're like, oh, what the? Oh my God. Like, that happened with BJ Penn and Joe Stevenson.
Yep.
I don't know if you remember that fight from a long time ago. That was a crazy one. That was when Joe Stevenson, when he got put in the rear naked by BJ Penn, the blood was literally squirting out of his head. Same thing with Diego Sanchez when he fought BJ Penn. When he got
Diego Sanchez every fight.
yeah, Diego Sanchez every fight gets cut open, and it is always a disaster for him.
Yeah.
Like, he had the one that he got cut from BJ Penn came off of all things, a head kick from BJ Penn, and it literally took 2/3 of his forehead. It went from the middle of his over his left eyebrow past his entire right eyebrow, and it looked like you could see skull. Like,
Is that the one where Joe Rogan was like, it looks like a goat's vagina?
I might have been
Split open so wide.
Yes. So, yeah, I mean, it's not always going to be a concussive blow that causes the cuts, and sometimes it just could be a glancing blow, and it just hits right and grabs the skin properly and just gives it that rip. That, and also for those of you that aren't sure, that didn't realize it, that is why we put Vaseline on the fighters' faces before they walk into the cage, just to prevent incidents like that from happening. Now, can you still get cut with Vaseline on your face? 100%, absolutely, but it does minimize the chances of it. And the only reason why this time, I think it was just because there was enough sweat and there was enough friction there when you guys collided, whether it was with your elbow or with your beard.
Or
That's my
cage, elbow, or beard.
Cage, elbow, or beard. That's really the only things that his forehead wound up touching. And it's hard. I do have to sympathize with the refs because that's a hard call to make, right? Because the cut was right in the middle of his head, basically, and the blood would have gone down and could have chosen one path on either side of his nose and could have gone into his eyes, and that would have been blinding. That would have been bothersome. That could be That would be
a stop to the fight.
Yeah, that would be a stop to the fight.
That's a stop.
And it wasn't even that it was deep. It's just when you get that forehead cut, like, it's up here on the scalp.
Yeah.
Like, that's leaking.
Yeah, and his was in the front. Like, it was... Wasn't it?
Oh, no, it was right here. Like,
it was up top.
Where my hairline used to be?
Yeah.
That's where...
Used to be.
So Ferrante, like a lot of guys that get cut, especially that early in the fight,
yeah,
he probably feels like not a loss, but he feels like it was stolen from him based on the cut, because he probably I'm sure he had lots more to give in that fight.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
No doubt. I mean,
we both did.
Yeah. I mean, they both came in tough. They both came in shape, ready to rock. So, it wasn't like, nobody had, like, starting out that fight, nobody had a clear advantage. You couldn't tell. you really couldn't tell who was going to take this back.
What
you know?
what are some of Ferrante's advantages in the fight over you, John?
Oh, I have no idea. I guess just great hard work. He's got a blue collar background. He yells about that a lot, so I guess there's that. I mean, I don't know.
He was going to be willing to go into the grind,
Oh,
and I'm
yeah.
not saying that Jonathan doesn't, but it was, for guys that have that mentality going into it, where they already know that we're going all 15 minutes and it's bell to bell,
Yeah.
and it's going to be
Somebody's either going to sleep or we're both leaving here like Forrest Griffin, Stephen Bonner style.
Yeah.
Like that's immediately what I felt once we got up against the cage before I even saw the blood.
yeah.
Because when he came in, I was like, all right, I'm definitely going to be stronger than this guy. That's what I thought going into the fight. And when I tried to pick him up off of my takedown, I was like, oh, this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
Because then we started going, and it was like,
So he's a lot stronger than you anticipated.
oh, yeah, absolutely. But that was going to be half the fun. I'm like, sweet. This is going to be, that means I got to use John Jitsu. That means I got to get technical. We're about to have some fun in this fight.
What's John Jitsu?
Pretty much just flip around until you're out or in the dominant position. Like that's what, if you asked any of my jiu-jitsu coaches, that's what they would say. They're like,
Is John Jitsu a reliable martial art?
no. I can tell you what, right now it does not work in the gi as well as it does in the gi. It works in the gi sometimes, but when you get somebody who knows how to hold on to a lapel or hold you down, yeah, it doesn't work as well as I want it to.
So it's a no-gi style.
Oh, definitely. Like a 10th Planet style. It's just no gi. No gi at all.
Yeah, I like the name. I like the ring to that. You probably should. That should, when you finally do retire for real, you should probably start teaching John Jitsu.
John Jitsu. Yeah,
John-
right.
But really, all you have to do is pretend that you're getting tased while you're on the ground.
Yeah, you just flop around like a fish. But you can't really use it until you're like a purple belt, because if you're a white belt and you flop around, I like hurt somebody, took home 2 shoulders, a couple elbows, some tendons. Like
Oh, jeez.
that was when I was a white belt young. I was like, let me just flip out of this and
Next thing you know, somebody's screaming on the mat.
Yeah.
Jonathan got out of a submission.
somebody's screaming and I'm like standing up like but I got out.
You should be John, like the eel, the slippery eel, Hughes. Because you
Man,
got,
it's bad. I'm starting to sweat like James lately. Shout out to James Neville.
Yeah, he's watching actually right now.
I'm getting my James sweat on. Like
Yeah.
when I was just training Saturday, we were rolling around. They had the doors open, but like I'm looking around and people are sweating, and I'm taking my break. This is like my 4th or 5th round. I'm taking my break. I'm looking over at everybody, and I look down, and there's just like a pull that had been dripping off of my beard. I'm like, oh. And I'm just kind of like looking around and just sweeping away my feet, just kind of making swishing it. Whoopsie.
I'm a real sweaty bastard too, and it's like, it's the tea. What is the tea calling the? Wait, no, the pot calling the kettle black. Yeah. But I really hate other guys that sweat all over me when I'm rolling with them. It's just so gross. It gets in your mouth. You're just like, nice salty. Let me think.
I kind of feel bad, but at the same time, like if I'm on top of somebody and we both came at a standstill, like we're clearly taking our breath and I'm not attacking, but I have dominant position, sometimes, depending on who it is, I'll feel bad, like when I'm just sweat's dripping from the beard into their face.
Right in their face, right in their mouth.
In their ear or in their eye, and they're just like, ugh. Or just on their forehead. And I'm like,
Yeah.
But then there's some people I'm just like, oh, this is going to be fun.
Yeah,
I
you
just kind of
just-
sit there and hang out, cook them a little bit, let them just like, hey, man.
Shake your head a little bit,
Yeah.
just let it drip on him.
Just like,
John.
I'll just do just squeeze the beard.
He's milking his beard on somebody's face.
That's awesome.
Oh, gross.
So just since we're at a pretty good break here real quick, definitely got to give a couple shout outs to some of the folks that are watching. We have Sean Reed, Iron,
What up?
James, Kelly, Coach Brian, Coach
Panda
Patrick.
Express. Coach Brian is Panda Express.
Oh, that's right, Panda Express, Coach Brian Logan. And congratulations, Coach Patrick. I don't know if I've spoken to you since you got your black belt. Congratulations on that.
Nice.
Big congrats
Yeah.
on that, man. That's huge.
And Karishma's on. I haven't heard from her in forever, so it's good to see her watching the podcast. So thank you,
Karishma is, am I saying that right?
Charismatic.
Charismatic. She is a hardcore fight game podcast supporter.
I appreciate.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So thank you, Karishma, for watching and being part of that.
yeah.
Yeah, so since we are in a good middle spot, let me again tell you guys about Fight Game Podcast on Patreon. Again, that's www.patreon.com/Fight Game Podcast. There's a lot of things that we want to do, including new studio, new shows, all featuring the DC, Maryland, and Virginia fighters and the gyms and academies in this area. So please be a part of that. $2 a month. Okay, you guys can cancel anytime. Feel like you're not getting your $2 worth a month, but
Some of y'all pay more than that for Tinder
Yep.
Gold. I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, y'all do.
That's right, and you might find your next love interest right here.
That's right.
On the boards of Fight Game Podcast.
That's right.
But yeah, please consider going on there right now and going to that website, patreon.com/Fight Game Podcast. And please click that button, become a member of the show, help us make this show and all the shows we want to do. And of course, the DC, Maryland, Virginia Fight Game, bigger than it is today, better than it is today, doing really professional, big things, guys. And of course, entertaining you, the masses.
We are trying.
We are trying our butts off here. I want to ask you, speaking about sponsorship and supporting a fighter, John, the Scarecrow Hughes, I've seen him more than once.
Boy.
This guy is on the social medias trying to get sponsorship for his fights, okay?
I don't know how to do the sponsorship
He what he just said, if you can't hear him, he's off mic, but he said he can't do the sponsorship.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
He doesn't know how to do the sponsorship thing. So maybe some of you guys, Sean the VA or Sean Va or whatever you
Read.
Sean, yeah.
Sean the VA.
Yeah. I hear he's pretty good. He's pretty good at sponsorship. Apparently he's bringing in a lot of money to the upcoming MGM fight. A lot of people come in to watch him and support him.
All goes to his foundations. I'm not sure which one he's riding out right now. I think it's one of the Raider ones or
Yeah.
Spade ones. He never takes money from the ticket sales or anything. It all goes to his foundations. I forget. Like, I'm sorry, Sean. Comment something and tell us what it is.
And
or
it's probably
somebody knows. Comment
Is
and
it-
let us know what it is so we can shout it out.
it's
But
probably like a Wounded Warrior type of thing, right?
Yeah.
One of the ones.
Something along those lines. Yeah. You said earlier during our pre-show, you said that Sean has got a Jedi mind trick way about talking to people and getting them to support him.
Oh yeah.
So
He'll make you feel guilty for not training too. Just like, hey man, you training? Like, nah, I got this coming up. Like, oh, we don't have 10 minutes to get on the mat real quick, just to get something real quick in. And you're like, I mean, like, come on, I'll show you what we can do. And you're like, before you know it, you're on the mat and he's doing like technique to you, and you're like,
It's been a half an hour, Sean.
like, I was supposed to be on the road like 20 minutes ago. And I'm like, oh, don't worry, I just want to show you one more thing.
One more
Before you
thing.
know it, you got like an hour and a half of training in. You're like, well,
wow.
all right then, that was cool. I guess now I'm late, but I got my workout in today.
your phone's being blown up by you're supposed to go on a date or something. Like, sorry, baby, I'm training.
I didn't think it was gonna work out anyway. So
All you gotta do is put Sean. Reply Sean. She goes, oh, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Have you Paul? Have you seen this? Have you seen Sean's Jedi tricks?
Jedi mind
Well,
tricks.
definitely. He's tried to pull it on me every now and then. Like, especially as of late, I haven't had a lot of chances to make it to the gym during the week. My work schedule has been very hectic. So whenever I see Sean, he's like, hey, haven't seen you in a while, man. Love to see you more often. And I'm like, I know. I'd want to be here too.
Well,
But you can't help but feel like even just the slightest bit guilty that you're like, yeah, he's right. I don't know what
Right.
else to say. Like, he's pointing out the obvious.
And he
but-
doesn't sound like he's being mean.
No,
No.
it's not that he's being mean about it. He's just definitely pointing it out to you to make sure that you're thinking about it at that moment.
yep.
Is part of it that he works so hard, so when you look at him, you go, oh, I'm not working as hard as he is.
Well, okay, so Sean has a history of just naturally just being in a constant mode of training, in a constant state of training. So it's not like, guys can brag about like, no days off, no days off, but Sean's for real, no days off. Like,
Yeah.
when we don't see him, that doesn't mean that he's not working out. When we don't see him is when he's doing all the crazier workouts that we don't get to see. But
You see his beautiful like beach waterfall pictures. What
Yeah.
you don't see is like the mountain that he had to climb to get
Yeah.
over there. And the snake and bobcat deer,
Yeah.
like skinned and like snapped necks to get there.
I'd love to
Yeah,
have Sean
yeah.
on the show.
absolutely, he had to Bear Grylls it to get to the surf
Yeah,
spot
right?
that he was doing. But yeah, sure. All you see is the surfing.
He put the shoes on for the camera. He didn't want you to know that was barefoot.
That was
trekking
barefoot
through
all the way.
woods, through the Amazon.
He's
With
the
with
like
a
most
knife in his mouth.
most people on social media, they say most people are putting on they're making it appear like they're doing a lot more than they're actually
It's
doing.
their filtered life. That's what people will always say that it's their filtered life. But for Sean, it's not.
Sean
That is for
Sean
sure.
is literally putting on shoes to make it look like he's not running barefoot.
Yeah, exactly.
He's doing things to make it look like he's doing less
Yeah.
than he actually is doing.
He has to pretend he's doing less to make it look like he's a normal human being.
Yeah, he's not some kind of he's
super athlete.
He's trying
Yeah.
to be Clark Kent in front of everybody.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
He's really Superman. But Sean sells tickets and others. I know I'm the human fights encyclopedia. Crew Paul over here could probably tell us about a lot of different fighters that are really good at the promoting themselves game.
Yeah.
What are some things that you see these guys doing
Well,
to
okay,
promote
so
themselves?
there's a negative and a positive to that, right? So you have like your Conor McGregors and you have your Floyd Mayweathers that are loud and they're very garish and they talk trash and all
Drama.
this. Yeah, drama. People that like to invoke drama and whatnot. And then there are people like Max Holloway and like, I mean, even
Tony Ferguson.
yeah. And if you think about locally, former Shogun 145 champ Binky.
Yep.
Those guys will do a lot of work with like kids and like really help their communities and things like that. Like doing a lot of community efforts to get local support. But some of them don't go for the global, for the more widespread fame and the more widespread support simply because that's kind of not in their nature.
It's not their personality.
No, it's not. And and even for the people that do talk a lot of smack, sometimes that's not their personality.
Right.
And but again, it's a product of it, right? That's part of the deal, so to
Which,
speak.
Shout out to Kenny Good to Go. That man knows how to. I don't know how he learned it or what. I remember he was asking me, "How do I do this social media thing? Like, I got to promote myself. How do I do this?" I'm like, I don't know, man. Just start posting. And within like a month, he had like hashtag this, hashtag that, like all these cool videos and pictures and James doing the meme salt shaking, throwing the jab thing, and like now he's just it's like clockwork. That I'm like, hey, come get your tickets, and I'll do a pick stitch. This man will do like a whole Instagram story that's like 2 minutes long. Like, come get your tickets, fight here, blah blah blah. We got so and so ready to fight on this Saturday from Disciple MMA, and it's all like a pick collage and words making it all shiny and bright. And I'm like, oh.
So
That's so awesome.
So there's a couple things that I see there, and it mirrors when you're an entrepreneur. It mirrors the things that you have to do as an entrepreneur. So there's the identity. I've been reading this one book where they call it the attractive character, and then there's the work behind that, right? Like all the infrastructure to create all that stuff. So, like, let's take you for instance, right? Let's take John Scarecrow Hughes. John Scarecrow Hughes, there's a natural personality that you have. Everybody that knows you knows that you've got this personality. But your job at this point is to figure out, to sort of distill what that personality is. Like, first of all, what's your main mission? What is it that you're all about? And then that's like your rallying cry. That's your warrior cry. That's your main character point, right? Is that John Hughes is this. And then from there, now it's everything else that you puts out something to do with that main message, right? So I don't know, just being kind of on the outside watching, I say, well, John's fun. he's a fun fighter. He's interesting.
I'm about having fun and fighting. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, you're a fun fighter.
Let's
So
have fun, love each other, and fight.
right. So
Do you say that in the same sentence?
Yeah.
Let's
Hey.
love each other and fight.
Remember, like we always say, before and after the fights, we're cool.
Oh yeah.
During,
Oh
no.
yeah. During,
If
we're
we're-
gonna knock each other's heads off.
if we talk about, like you mentioned Max Holloway. Max Holloway is the Hawaiian warrior. I mean, he's this kid that comes from this place that's, paradise. He comes from paradise.
Yep.
But he represents the reality, because people that haven't been to Hawaii don't know that Hawaii creates some of the best warriors, because they've got this culture of fighting.
They have
Yeah.
some real hardships too.
Hardships down in the island. Island is not what you think it is,
Yeah, it's not all coconut drinks and Mai Tais and umbrella drinks and stuff like
Only
that.
if you go there as a
For vacation.
yeah, as a tourist. When you go
Yeah.
there as a tourist, you see one thing. But Max he's there, and he's actually representing the real Hawaii,
Right.
So that's part of his character. He's a nice guy. He's a real guy, but he will punch you in the face. Like,
Absolutely.
he's a dangerous guy. I see you as fun guy, but also I will punch you, dangerous guy too.
guy.
And
Calling me mushroom.
so everything that you put out, and people like what do you call it? Your fans have an expectation of you.
Yeah.
They are expecting things. Like, for instance, this podcast. If we stop doing the podcast for a couple weeks and don't tell anybody, then that's a problem.
Yeah.
We lose viewership. If we start talking to people that aren't in the fight game, we start losing people.
You're like, why do I care about this guy who has nothing to do with fighting?
Yeah, what we're doing is there's a promise, there's an unspoken promise that we're not fulfilling the promise, right? So, question is for you, John Hughes, what is the promise that you have to keep up with your fans? What is the thing that they consistently need to see from you, and then with all those things in place, then there's finally the call to action, the CTA. And the call to action is important. It's the one thing that a lot of people that have everything else dialed in, if they don't have this one thing dialed in, they don't get anywhere. The call to action is, okay, you like me, you're my fan, you want to see me do well. This is how you do it. And then you got to let them know, if they really are all about supporting you, they need to do this next thing, whatever that next thing is.
Hook your boy up with a sponsor.
Yeah. Sponsorship and ticket sales, like they're just because you can't make it to the fight doesn't mean you can't buy tickets for the fight.
It's true. You always
know.
support your local fighter just buying a ticket.
Yeah. And that's something that I definitely get behind, is that, even though you can't make it, buy a ticket. Put it under their code online, because all the fighters get their own online code. So buy it under Jonathan's name and make sure that the promoters know that Jonathan is the one that's bringing that business to them, so that they keep inviting Jonathan back. And then, it helps Jonathan make more money, and it helps expose him a little bit more, give him a little bit more, sponsorship opportunities, and all of the things that are supposed to come with that package of being out there, being a prize fighter, right? That's all important to the game.
Yeah. My question always, when it comes to self-promotion, is, why are you following me? Like, you look at your fans, you go, why are you here on this train?
I'll say this: if I never met Jonathan as a coach, and whatever, a cornerman, I would still have been his friend. Like, the first time I met Jonathan,
Aw.
Jonathan doesn't know strangers.
Again with the awe.
Yeah,
This guy's got a lot of estrogen. I think he needs to.
Jonathan knows no strangers. Everybody is Jonathan's friend. Immediately off the bat, it's always going to be, we're cool, regardless, no matter what, we're cool. And then you start to figure out what level that is. But that's one of the best traits about Jonathan. What makes him so marketable is that he doesn't know any strangers.
Right.
But it's also going to be the trickiest part of your career, because if you there's going to be a point where you're going to have to turn people away, and I know it's going to be difficult for you.
Oh, yeah.
That's the hard part, right? But
Like, I love everybody. Everybody
Yeah.
come in. Let's have fun. Let's do the damn thing.
But you're just one man. When I was working for DCMMA.com back in the day, when it was DCMMA.com. I don't know.
Oh
what-
yeah, I
don't-
remember.
I don't know what it is now since the owner sold it, but it used to be kind of what we're doing here, except we would go to live fights and we would write about the fights, write about the fighters. And I remember I went to UFC. I forget which one what the promotion was called, but it was a UFC promotion, and it was being held at I will still call it forever the Patriot Center in Fairfax, Virginia. I will not call it Eagle Bank Arena. Okay, Patriot Center. Damn it.
Yes.
But I was at the Patriot Center and I got to meet two guys that I was following heavily. Okay, I got to meet my favorite Rampage Jackson,
Okay.
Nice.
and I got to meet Tito.
Nice.
Oh,
Rampage was the nicest, and I was way in the back of the line waiting to like talk to these guys. Just real quick, get something autographed, and then
Yep.
be like, "Hey, I love what you guys have been doing for the game," and because I understand these guys are busy. The line's even longer behind me, right?
Yep.
I go up to Rampage, and Rampage, man, gives me the dap, gives me yeah, man, gives me a little, the whole nine, right?
Yeah.
For the 5-10 seconds that I had.
Yeah.
Tito signed my thing, didn't say anything to me, and when I said something to him, he just kind of nodded and just kind of like shooed me off.
Oh.
Tito was a dick. I don't know if he
I
was.
feel like he gives that vibe off.
Yeah.
Anyway, like just in general.
Yeah. Tito.
Okay, so you're not finish your story, but I have a question in
Okay.
regards to Tito after this.
Okay. So after that, right?
And yes, it was a UWC show.
UWC show. Okay.
Yes.
Tito, I don't want to be mad at him and call him a dick just right out of hand, because I understand this guy is famous. He's fight famous. This guy
Yes.
talks to a lot of people. He travels all over the world
Yep.
talking to people, and I get it. Like, we're on a conveyor belt of fans.
Yep.
Get in, get out. Cool. I'm not sitting trying to tell him my life story or whatever, but there was that sort of thing where, hey man, you got fans. I know that when you get to a certain level, you feel like I got so many fans that I'm sick of it. But it's like, even so,
You still have an obligation.
an obligation to your fans, even if it's not to talk to me, don't talk to me.
Yeah.
But smile and give me the thought that you don't hate me for wasting your time, your precious
Yeah.
time. I'm there just like all the other fans. So I'm trying not to take it personally, but Rampage is just as famous, in my opinion, as Tito. They're both in the
At that
same
time,
place.
yeah.
And, Rampage, I got good feelings with Rampage. I got bad feelings with you. What's the difference there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what's your question about Tito?
So, you guys basically were saying that Tito kind of gives off that vibe that he's a little bit more pricklier and
Yeah.
not necessarily as people friendly, especially at the height of his career, at the height of his fame.
Yeah.
But did you guys watch the season where he was coaching the Ultimate Fighter?
The one where he was coaching with Chuck. Was it with Chuck?
I don't know if it was against. Was it against Chuck?
It was either Chuck or
No, it wasn't Chuck.
it wasn't John. Short wrestler, famous wrestler guy. Was it? No. It was it was the with the red underwear. One of the brothers. The other brother was a pancrase.
Oh, Shamrock.
Yeah, it was Shamrock.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah.
Shamrock versus Ortiz. Now,
So that one, no, I got you.
and that was
I get where you're going.
that was the Ultimate Fighter show that Michael Bisping came out of, and
The deaf fighter.
yeah.
What's his name?
Mitrione, or not Mitrione. Mitrione came out of that one too, though.
Oh.
Matt Mitrione came out of that. Matt,
also Matt something.
Matt, I forget his name, but he like the peanut butter and jelly guy.
Yeah,
He
Matt,
was
yeah.
deaf, yeah.
And the big. I thought the big dude with the red hair that with the messed up ears. Big. Forrest didn't Forrest Griffith.
Not in that
Come on,
one.
Not
Not
that
in that
one.
one,
Okay.
no.
All right.
All right. So on that show, when he was coaching, I thought he was a great coach.
Oh, absolutely.
And so that painted Tito to me. That painted Tito in a very different light.
A good light.
Yeah, because he was always the Huntington Beach bad boy. I've got an attitude problem. I'm a jerk. Yada
Yeah.
yada yada. I'm gonna be short with everybody. But then when you see him as a coach, he's like nurturing and very very accommodating to his fighters, and he's like really trying to help them along the way. So I was like, what's the character? What's the man?
Yeah.
Right.
So I'll give him that because definitely a good coach as far as the show portrayed, but that's also because Shamrock was like
On the
poo-poo.
outs with the
Yeah, he was on poo-poo
He was-
and
he was
and
a heel.
coaching in
Yeah.
there.
He wasn't
Matt
good.
Hamill. Thank you.
Matt Hamill. Thank you.
Yeah. But that being said, I don't like how he plays the victim and everything. It was like if you got this attitude and you're the big jerk and you're supposed to be the big bully,
Yeah.
then why are you always woe is me, woe is me? Nobody wants to give me
Yeah.
me mine.
Yeah.
Like stop crying.
At least, like if you in comparison, if you take like the Diaz brothers, they
I was
know
I was just about to mention that.
Yeah.
they know what they're doing, so they're like, yeah, if we don't get any love, it's because we're acting the way that we act,
Yeah,
and we're
like
just
we
being
know
real.
we know why y'all don't give us loves because we're too real for y'all.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and it's not a lie. They are way too real for
Yeah.
like
Yeah, for a lot of people.
a household name.
Yeah.
Dude,
But
did you know about, speaking of things that we don't really know about, have you heard about Pluto TV?
Yo, my man Jonathan here just
Yeah, I
introduced me
kept
to
telling
it.
him.
He just introduced me to it.
Oh my
Bro,
god.
I'm trying to tell y'all, like, shame, a free plug because
Yeah.
we don't get nothing from them. but
Pluto.tv, y'all need to start sponsoring Jonathan Hughes
For
because
real.
he is plugging your product.
everywhere
Yeah.
on the Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook.
Oh my gosh.
I love you. I love
Pluto-
Pluto TV. I only watch 2 channels on there, and I love it.
Pluto,
Let's shout it out.
Pluto.tv. So John was explaining to me, he's like, yeah, man, I watch all the what
Glory
fight?
Kickboxing.
Glory
Glory.
fights and
Some of the one fighting championships are on the Fight Channel in there.
Did you watch the Yodsun Clay fight against Nagimbi? It was
it
it was the last one fighting championships. It was Muay Thai at the cage where they were using.
Oh no!
They were
I
doing
didn't
like
see that.
Bunchu Muay Thai where they used the MMA gloves.
No.
And doing Muay Thai. Yo. John told me about it, and then I started looking for it. I found a clip of it on Facebook, and I was like, "Oh my god, that is amazing!"
It's pretty nasty.
I don't know anything about that.
Speaking of the
Bunchu.
Bunchu.
Yeah.
Okay, so stay with me on this. Kind of off topic, but on topic. So this Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor thing, it should be those rules. If not those rules, like a 5-minute round, because Mayweather may not be able to hang for 5 minutes. So you
Yeah.
can just break him for 3. Go Draka rules, where it's
Ooh.
3. You take if you want, you can take the ground out of it, but you get the 30 seconds on the ground to finish.
Yeah.
No, you don't finish. Stand back up, and it's a
Yep.
stand-up fight from there.
Yeah.
You get your kicks. If you want to take elbows out of it, sure, but leave knees in. Get your
Yeah.
kicks, punches. 30 seconds on the ground. 3-minute rounds. Boom.
It's always going to be modified.
That's how you
rules.
do it.
It's going to be modified.
Oh, for sure.
If that fight happened,
But if you're gonna modify them to the Draka rules.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that fits what they're trying to do.
Yeah. For those of y'all that don't know, oh, what's up, Alyssa? Alyssa Bergeron is watching.
Hey, what it is?
So, throughout Jonathan's amateur and professional fighting career, we have thrown him at everything that we could possibly think of to throw him into. And Jonathan's always been like, our yes man. We're like,
All right,
we're gonna put you
I'll
in
do
this.
it.
We're gonna put you in this Russian promotion with some weird ass rules, and we're gonna, do you want to roll with it? He's like, yeah,
Okay.
all right, cool.
He's the Cowboy Cerrone, huh?
Yeah, he's like
Cerrone.
our cowboy Cerrone. He's just like, yeah, anytime, whatever. It's all good. We'll do it. Give me time to train for it, cut weight, and we're good.
How much time I got? 2
Yeah.
weeks. All right, I'll see you there.
You got no fear, man.
But
I try not to.
But
I'm scared of heights.
don't ever have Jonathan fighting on the top of a skyscraper. We might lose him.
Yeah, no,
Dude.
I'm not gonna be there. I won't show up.
Dude. Fights at Abu Dhabi in one of those
Oh, the Burj Khalifa.
the Burj Khalifa, on the top of the Burj Khalifa.
That building is a quarter of a mile straight up.
Nope.
Actually, over a quarter of a mile straight up.
I start getting nervous at like anything higher than 20.
You'll be in the elevator for 10 minutes trying to get up there, man.
Yeah, no,
If
and
not
like
longer.
elevators, I freak out. Like once we get 22, 23, 24, I'm like, all right, gotta remember it's a building. The building's stable. We're all good. We are great.
Meanwhile, like heavy winds come and the building sways
Oh man, it freaks me out so bad.
because it has to.
I will tell you that flying into Dubai, that's the first thing that you see is the Burj Khalifa because it's the tallest thing out there. It's
Yeah.
sticking a quarter of a mile out of the ground, and I remember flying into Dubai and I was looking at it and I was like, I see the building and I was like, where's the other buildings? And then as you start to descend, then you start to see all the other buildings in comparison to it. And I'm like,
Nope.
those are supposed to be tall buildings. Why is that building that much taller? I was like,
Nope,
oh my
nope,
God.
nope.
That's crazy, and it's built on the sand.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy. I watched a video one time about like how they do that. These guys have to put in stanchions and all this foundation like way into the earth.
Yeah.
Way
the
into the earth.
stabilization for that is just unreal.
It has to be. It
Yeah.
has to be. Oh,
There's so much money in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, it has to. Everybody's played Jenga. You see that?
Yeah,
Come on now.
man.
Like you watch Jenga and then you want to go into like a quarter of a mile building. You're like, no, no.
There's a. Oh, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, I was just gonna say. So, I'm sorry, I kind of took us way off topic here for a minute. Now, on as far as your recent fights have gone, you know, the fight before your first fight coming back after a long break
Kronstadt.
was Kronstadt.
Yes.
And then, but between Kronstadt and Nakapon,
Yes.
there was nothing. And how long was that gap?
I don't know. I want to say like, what was that, a year? Not even. No. How long was that? Because we fought Kronstadt in October
Yeah.
at one of those Ogden shows presented by Shogun, and then
Yeah, it was
and
in
then it was
Maryland.
Nakapong. What Nakapong was in November?
Yeah, so about 11 months.
Yeah, about a year roughly.
Now, for those of you that weren't there or didn't see it, you know, he had a great fight with Nakapon, and that was, you know, Nakapon. All respect to Nakapon, he's one of the best coaches in the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area.
That was
you
a
know.
chess match.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that was a tough fight going into it, and we were like, see if you can follow the game plan. If you can follow the game plan, we might be able to get this.
What was the
you know.
game plan for that one?
Stay long.
Yeah, stay long. Use his athleticism to be able to explode in and out of range.
What's the height difference?
He's about, I want to say 5'10",
Yeah.
5'9", 5'10", somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
You're what, 6'1", 2"?
No, I'm 6'1".
6'1"?
6'1" on a good day if I hang upside down. I'm normally
If you sleep
like,
upside down,
yeah,
like a bat.
Normally I'm just like 6 foot.
But you do have gorilla length arms, though.
Oh yeah, I have the arms of like somebody who's 6'4".
Yeah.
John is one of those
wingspan
guys that can
is-
scratch his knees when he's standing straight up.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, oh, yeah.
Dude, I was having trouble here in the studio opening the vent for the air conditioning, and I'm sitting here. Hey, grab my Chinese stick over there. No homo.
He grabs this thing.
I grab my Chinese walking stick I got here, and I'm all like
Swatting at the vent up
swatting
there.
at the vent. And John's like, oh, hold on, bro, let me get that for you.
Click.
Yeah.
Go gadget arms.
And I looked at him sideways like, John, you're not tall enough to reach that. It's like, and he just, oh, really? And then he just, I'm like, oh, your arms are way too long, bro. Oh man, be at the
My
end of
reach
those.
is, I think, either 76 or 78.
That's
Oh,
what-
Crew Chase is on. What's up, Crew Chase? I didn't even notice
Crew
that he snuck
Chase.
in there.
I'm supposed to stop by and we're gonna get some sparring in sometime before this training camp.
oh man, you're gonna whoop up on Chase, huh?
Well, he's probably gonna come whoop up on me.
You're gonna whoop that ass,
He's
huh?
got heavy kicks.
He called everybody in this room losers. So I'm gonna go ahead and say, Chase can kiss. You can kiss John Scarecrow Hughes' ass.
Great. Yeah, just rile him up before I go down there and spar.
He's gonna grab you by your
Fantastic.
mohawk. How about that?
No, I'm not. I'm gonna go Care Bear style and give you all sorts of hugs.
Care Bear power. So, so you're kind of just you're traveling now, man, because you're going up and down. So you're stopping at different gyms. You're at Elevate down in what is that, Raleigh?
Well, I'm in Raleigh, but Elevate is up in Durham. It's about 20 minutes from where I'm staying at, 25 minutes.
Do you know Trevor Hayes?
I do not.
Okay, so I have to introduce you to him. I think he has he has a school down in North Carolina as well, in Raleigh. I believe it's in Raleigh.
Boxing school?
Muay Thai,
Muay Thai?
really good Muay Thai guy.
What's it called?
He's
Because it might be on my list of like schools to stop and try out. Like I'm here this week to go bouncing back and forth between Tony Passo's disciple and Lotus out in Fairfax to get all my training in.
Yeah.
And then next week I'm pretty much getting my training in by gym hopping and like testing out gyms to see where I want to set up camp and get everything popping. So far, Elevate MMA is the only place I've been.
Okay.
Seems kind of fun. I'm interested to see their stand-up place, but also shout out to Keith Bell. I don't know if he's watching or not, or if he'll see this. He's #1 heavyweight on the East Coast. He was on the show with me and Nakapong. He got that heavyweight knockout.
You said his name's Keith Hill?
Keith Bell, Bell. But he's got a boxing gym down there called Jawbreaker. So I'm gonna definitely go and test that one out and try it out.
Chase wants to know, what's the one super dope gym you're going to in Virginia Beach? You don't have to answer that question.
It's I believe it's Megastone or Limestone Athletics.
I think
it's Grindstone Athletics. No, I'm just messing with you. I'm messing with you, Chase. Don't hurt me too bad. Grindstone Athletics out in Virginia Beach.
Yes.
Headed up by crew Chase Walden.
Chase is doing a good job promoting that too, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
he's got
dude.
Great content that he's putting out there. A lot of good videos of the training that he's got those folks doing. Very technical stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Always been, that's kind of always been his, forte, is that, he always does like very technical training, very, very regimented, very, I don't want to call it rigid, but it's very time kept and very, very timely and very efficient, and always very technical.
When we had him on, I guess it was I think it was Righteous Anger podcast.
Yeah.
When we had him on there, I was really impressed by his explanation of his commands that he puts out when he's holding pads. Like you said, very regimented. Like,
Yeah.
And hopefully I'm not putting too many clock Nazi. Hopefully I'm not putting any words in his mouth. I'm remembering what he said, and he can obviously speak to this when he finally comes on the show again, when he comes back up here. But
if he ever comes to see us again,
if he ever comes back up here again,
shots fired.
To remember the people that love him the most. But one thing that I remember, it was like he said, when you end the fight, it's not. Yeah, there's some creativity happening, but really, again, going back to foundation.
Yeah.
The foundation that you put in is that regiment, that muscle memory of
mastering the basics.
The basics. And he said that
mastering the basics. I hope my baby sister is watching this. Mastering the basics, Janie Rose. Okay, sorry, I had to do that.
Is Janie Rose the one who was saying you were crying like a baby up in the cage?
Yes, she is.
Man, she went hard on you that day, man.
I know. I was a little upset at that. But
I love that John is actually a big proponent of mastering the fundamentals, because Jonathan took the longest to get them down for just hands up. Like, that was a concept that was so foreign to Jonathan for the longest time.
I don't understand what you mean. Roy Jones doesn't have his hands up. What do I got to put
You're
my
not
hands
Roy
up?
Jones.
But watch this.
I know, and it's hilarious, man, because John's got a 74-inch reach. Like, you'd think it'd be easy to keep his hands up.
Come on, don't sell me short.
Oh, sorry, 76. That's not where the inches count the most, bro.
Oh, I know.
Just saying.
Believe me, I know that.
So what do you see as far as your future? I mean, when I talked to you last, fighting was important to you, but obviously you're doing a lot of different things as far as helping people out. You're actually, the reason why you're down there in North Carolina is you're helping your family businesses.
Yes.
And you're kind of a go-to guy for whatever you need. You're there. You're helping. You're helping build things. You're helping manage things. You're doing all kinds of things.
Yep.
But what is your number one goal right now? Just for you, John. What's your number one goal in the next couple of years? What do you want?
Ideally, in my dreamland world, I would love to somehow keep this up to where I'd be commuting like half the week. I'm up here hanging out, coaching, training, doing what I do. Not even working at BSP, but hanging out at BSP, lifting with those guys, if interning at that, just kind of hanging out and helping coach whenever they need a hand. And then come Thursday, going back down to North Carolina and working Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then coming back like half the day Sunday. Because this is my home. Like, yeah, I was raised in Raleigh, but like I grew up in Virginia. Like, this is where I became an adult and who I am now. So I can't just be like, all right, thanks, Virginia. It's been real. Like, there's way too much history, way too much family here.
And you're loyal because you're a disciple guy. I mean, that's I would say, besides Deadly, as being an adjective for disciple guys, loyal would be like number one to me.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I can't like that was major in this whole thought process of moving as well. It was like, well, if I move, I still want to fight under disciple. I still want to be here to coach and train. I still want to be here for the guys, the amateur guys coming up, the future pro guys coming up, the guys who are just learning how to fight or about to take their first fight here in a few weeks at WKAs or Valhalla in a month or so. I still wanted to be here for those guys, and I can't really be here like one day or once a weekend. But all that came into play when I was thinking about moving. And in an ideal world, I'm in both Virginia and North Carolina. Hopefully I can work that out. That's my game plan right now, is to be up here half the time and be down there.
Your podcast game is gonna be way up. You're gonna be
bro, who you telling?
listening to podcasts all the way up here, man.
I was listening to a few up here, just like I listened to a few Joe Rogan on the way down. On the way up, I was just like, I need something different, and it was the
Fight Game Podcast,
the Stuff You Should Know podcast, Reg Sanger podcast, Fight Game podcast. Was catching up on a Rick McCoy one.
The Rick McCoy one was an awesome.
That was a good one.
My phone kept cutting out, and I was about to throw it out the window. But I was like, oh no, okay.
Dude, Rick McCoy, he's one of those guys that when you sit down and talk to him, he's so down to earth that you don't realize the gravity of who you're actually speaking to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he tricks you into thinking like, yeah, just a normal
dude.
normal guy.
No,
big-
you're not.
No, you're not, dude.
Just a guy.
Yeah. No, you're not. So that's exciting, man. That's really exciting. I hope that you're able to do that. And more than that, I hope that you're able to continue fighting and sharpening your game as a fighter.
Oh, I will.
Yeah,
I will. There's so much more left.
because you are an exciting fighter. You're a fighter. I think that people, there's fighters that most people can't really get into, like the average Joe can't really get into. You're not that guy. Like you're a very exciting fighter to watch, and you bring it. And your game, as we talked about before, you're a real game fighter. So, I really hope that people that are watching or listening to this, however you guys are taking this information right now, that you guys help support John. There's a lot of different ways.
Sponsor John Hughes.
Yeah.
Hashtag sponsor John Hughes.
Well, okay. So like, what does that look like before we sign off and do everything else? Like, what does that look like as far as this? Because you keep saying sponsor, right?
Yeah.
But how do they sponsor you?
Well, right now, anyway, like you guys, if you are a supplement company, clothing company, if you're
Equipment company, like
equipment
gear
company,
equipment.
fight gear company, or you're just a company wanting to get your name out, holler at me. We'll work something out. I'll give you a shout out on Instagram, especially if you're in the local Virginia area. Most of my following is in the DMV area. Soon I'm going to have the following in Raleigh. I mean, I could right now. Shout out to my brother, Stovetop Mafia and LLC. That's their studio.
Stovetop Mafia. That's dope.
Yeah.
I can dig that.
It messed with me the other day. Like, it took me a second. But I woke up and he was like, yeah, Stovetop's already up in the kitchen cooking. Like, I was like, what are you talking about? And he meant they're in the studio. And I'm like, oh, man. God, I should have got that. Oh. But I was too early. And I was like, oh, that's legit. That's awesome. I'm going to use that everywhere I go now. But, yeah, Stovetop, they have a huge following building up in Raleigh. If you got company or anyway, like whatever your company does, if you got following in Raleigh or you're trying to spread, let me know. I can network. We can network. I can shout out on Instagram with following anything. But
Are you still on Twitter?
Nah, not really.
Okay.
I'm mainly on Instagram. I am on Messenger on Facebook. Like I have that on my phone, but I don't have Facebook on my phone.
And you're on
just 'cause
Snapchat.
And I'm on Snapchat.
Okay.
So Snapchat and Instagram. On Instagram, I'm at Pelvic Sorcery. At pelvic _ sorcery.
I love that, by the way.
Yeah. So somebody the other day or last weigh-in asked me, like, we're friends on Instagram. I think it was Patrick Rivera. Like, we're friends on Instagram.
Uh-huh.
I recognized him, but I don't think he recognized me. And then, like, I tagged him in the thing, and he was like, oh, is that your fight name? Pelvic Sorcery? I was like, nah, not yet. I can't really.
That's not his.
do
That's
that.
not his fight game name. That's his sex game name.
Yeah. Chill. You can get people yelling at me on.
Yeah,
Instagram.
check it out though. So people understand though. So people with businesses that can support you, they can throw some dollars your way. You know, I know there's
Not even
different
dollars, just equipment. You got
Or
equipment,
equipment.
or you got protein, or whatever. Send it my way. I'll tag it on Instagram. I'll put it in my hashtags and tag you every time I post any of that.
right, and
I think that's how this sponsor thing works, right?
that's one way. But just talk about some of the things that you have to foot the bill for. There's a lot of things as being a professional fighter you got to pay for. What are some of those things?
So last training camp, I had to fit the bill for just a gym membership so I could get my swimming in. I'm not doing that this time. I'm not doing the swimming this time. I'm doing the running. But if somebody wanted to sponsor, such as actually I think Gold's Gym is doing that. So shout out to Gold's Gym in Ashburn. I'm gonna be using their pool, but I'm gonna be traveling now. So the gas,
Yeah.
I got an Expedition, baby, 2001 Expedition V8. That engine is very, very thirsty. But last time, one of the time, actually 2 times now, Crew Paul has provided gloves. That's sponsorship right there. I tear through my gloves. I don't know how, but I've had Fairtex and Twins 2 years in a row, and it comes up on that
Jonathan
2-year
can
mark.
tear,
and
tear through some
So
equipment.
so
boy.
we're talking gear. We're talking facilities. We're talking the medical supplements, the medical exam to get cleared to fight.
although that's taken care of for this one, but either way, still, like I said, y'all need me to show up somewhere, do something for y'all, whether it be do a showing or come up and do some training, I'll do that as well.
Yeah.
I am providing myself as a service for y'all to get some sponsorships.
There you go.
Because this is my first time doing the sponsorship thing. Normally, I just focus on the fight and selling the tickets. Now that I got that under control, it's time to take this to the next level and promote myself like I should be doing.
And I think John would be a fan. I mean, just like looking at his the stuff that he does on social media, John would be a great addition to your marketing plan. The strategy that you're doing, especially if you're talking to fight fans, people that would be into fight fans, that you're looking at a demographic of obviously 18 to 35 males, increasingly now females. I mean, I wouldn't say just as much at this point, but it's soon to be. It's looking like it's becoming just as much females supporting the fight game. But yeah, he'd be very fun, very vocal, and you don't get into real like trouble or anything. You're not like a big troublemaker.
I try not to.
But if it is trouble, it's fun trouble. So you definitely want
trouble.
that.
Yeah, we could call it that.
Yeah.
There we go.
So definitely reach out to him. You can reach John. What's the best email for them to contact you at?
At j.hughesmma@yahoo.com.
There you go. And
Or hit me up, slide in my DMs at pelvic sorcery, at pelvic_sorcery.
pelvic_sorcery. That might be more fun to type. So go ahead and do that.
Yeah. Plus, you can go check out the Instagram and see what we're talking about.
Yeah. How important is the gram nowadays? You think it's more important than other social media venues?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't, you can post, but it's more FaceTime. Like, you're getting pictures, you're seeing, like, Twitter, it's like, hey, I'm doing this, blah, blah, blah. But, like, unless you post the actual picture, nobody really knows. But the Instagram, you're like, hey, I'm here, blah, blah, blah. Follow me on Instagram. And you're, like, taking pictures. Follow me as I go here. The only thing I don't like about it is it's only a minute of video.
Right.
Like, you got to be like, all right.
You got to say more with less, right?
Yeah.
You gotta be like John Machida, like Blur from the Transformers. Does anybody know that reference?
Yep. I got you.
So of course, guys, please support this great fighter, John Scarecrow Hughes. You know how to do it. You've got what you need now. So just go ahead and act on that. And of course, if you are a member or want to be a member of the Fight Game Podcast, that's very easy to do. Go to www.patreon. That's patreon.com/Fight Game Podcast. We made it real easy. There's a lot of fun stuff we want to do. One of those things, I'm going to do kind of a teaser here, but one of the things we want to do is, like the UFC has its very fun press conferences with lots of drama and, all the things that go with getting a bunch of fighters that are going to fight each other together before the actual fight. We're planning on doing that as well here for the upcoming MGM Shogun fight.
Yes.
I tell you right now, if you get Kenny Good to Go and Mike Otero on a press conference
That's
for this
good.
upcoming fight,
Fireworks.
right? You might get some fireworks. You might get more than fireworks. That'll be fun to watch and
Well, that's
listen.
cool.
We need a security detail.
Oh
there, too.
yeah,
We're-
you're gonna need.
It ain't going to be in this studio. We're going to tear up someplace, so don't worry about that.
Yeah, don't do it here.
The details, of course, are forthcoming. They're going to be, at you soon, within the week or so. But yeah, we definitely want to do that a week or two outside of the fight.
When's the fight, Jonathan?
June 23rd, Shogun at National Harbor.
That is so awesome.
MGM in the National Harbor. The first MMA show at the MGM.
It's a historic event, everybody. You're not going to want to miss it.
on the East Coast MGM, y'all. The first one at the East Coast MGM.
God, that's-
Pablo Garcia just signed on.
Man,
What's up,
why you
Pablo?
always late to the party on that CPT?
CPT. Let me ring the bell on that one. So, yeah, don't worry. Hey, Pablo, don't worry about it, man.
Pablocito.
Look, Pablo, all you got to do is go to www.patreon.com/Fight Game Podcast, and you can watch the show.
Yeah.
And you get to watch it in 4K wonderfulness, HD, baby,
Ooh.
or UHD if you want.
I don't know if I want to see my face
and-
or
and-
beard in 4K.
Oh yeah, it's gross. It's gross right now. So I
Is it
couldn't
as
imagine.
gross as I think it is?
No, it looks good actually. It's better than usual.
You sure?
Yeah.
I put beard wax in it today.
It looks good on camera.
It does.
All right, that's good.
It's showing good on camera.
Nice.
We're good.
So, of course, guys, you can go there. And then, of course, you can go to Epilogue Shirts. That's EPILOGUE shirts.com and buy some shirts, support the show that way. And, of course, come and experience the greatness that is mother-loving crew Paul Sitchering.
Please.
This guy is doing all kinds of like things and on the outside. I'm gonna out him right now. I'm gonna say one thing that he doesn't want me to tell people, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Paul is gonna be speaking here pretty soon. That's something that we're gonna be
okay.
doing.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, we're working with Paul right now. So Paul is a guy that he has got a lot of wisdom to impart on people, on positivity, and creating strength within one's own life. So if you feel like you need more positivity and more strength in your life, Paul is your man. So, of course, stay tuned because we're going to be giving more and more details on that. But Paul is the man. That should be
appreciate it.
That should be at paulistheman.com. That's probably it. I don't know. Maybe-
Please don't do that.
That's probably
We're not gonna
taken,
do
but
that.
we're not doing that.
I'm going to buy that one.
You should buy it and then sell it to him for $1,000.
Well, no, it'll be my gift.
Oh, very good.
My offering.
What a nice man. So for those of you guys watch, thank you for watching the show. Of course, there's more and more and more to come. You guys know how to support the show. Go and support the show right now. Support John Hughes right now. And of course, have a wonderful day.
Peace. Bye.
Bye.